Before I actually get with this started with the story, I have to give a shout out to Jody's Corners. Y'all probably have heard me mention that person's name on this channel before, and y'all probably are familiar with who he is. And I went to his Twitter page and I actually saw this commentary that he did in collaboration with two other YouTubers. And it was about this individual by the name of RK Outpost, and he's a person who's on YouTube. He does different commentaries and things of that nature. And I've seen some of his commentaries before, and I'm not surprised by what you're about to hear. So he did a review of the movie The Batman, like many people, including myself, have already done. But I swear, he must be the only person on YouTube who has done a review of this movie, or anybody who has done a review on this movie, whether it's a blog, or wherever it may be, that pointed something out that did not need to be pointed out. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play for you the clip from his review that has everybody going crazy, and rightfully so, because it made no sense for him to point this out.
But there were only a couple good people in this movie. You had Bruce Wayne, Batman, and you had Alfred. Those are the only two good white people. The rest of the three other major players that I would consider like overall like moral good people were, you had Jim Gordon, who's black in this. You had Catwoman, who's not white in this. And then you had the mayor, who's a black woman. Again, very much on the nose for current day Hollywood. Did not like that.
Okay, so you heard it right there. This guy got upset because he said in the movie there were only two good white people, Batman or Bruce Wayne and Alfred. And the rest of the white guys in the movie were bad. But he made sure to point out that the other three good the other good people in the movie were the black characters, which was Jim Gordon, Catwoman, and the mayor, which I did not, unfortunately, in my review, I did not acknowledge her character. But yes, the mayor, or the woman who got elected mayor in the movie, she's a black woman, dark-skinned black woman in the movie. And all three of them are good characters, even though Catwoman, she's kind of like an anti-hero. So it's like she's good, but then she does mischievous things, but she's not a villain. She's not a fleshed out villain. So we can't really put her in the villain category. But he got so upset by that he had to make sure to point that out in his review. Now I guess he talked about other different things in his review, but it was at that part right there, which I don't know how long his review was, but I want to say he was probably a little bit over halfway into his review. And I guess he was talking about the stuff that he maybe did not like. And that's one thing he pointed out. Like I said, I believe he's the only person on social media that pointed that out. The only person that pointed that out, like something that didn't even need to be pointed out. I didn't even point that out in my review. And for what reason? This is what PC is talking about when they say you will not replace us, or when they get upset whenever they're casting for superhero movies and having black characters possibly portray the roles of characters that are historically as white. It's not because they're mad that they're having a black person possibly portray them. It's the fact that they don't like them to be good, because black characters, how they want to see them, they want them to be pigeonholed and shoehorned into being bad characters. Now, I don't know maybe if he's that much of a Batman fanatic or whatever the case may be, but for him to make this outlandish response, and that was the take he gave, and I swear I think he's the only one that said it. I don't think anybody else did. That's ridiculous. But I want you to also hear this other clip, because he came back and he posted up another video in response to the backlash that he got from this. And I want you to hear the absolutely worst deflection that you will probably ever hear from a person with a take quite like this. And by the way, the name of the video that he posted is called "They Want Me Dead Over My Review of the Batman. SJWs Are Begging for Me to Be Canceled." See, what he already deflected right there in the title. Basically, what he's trying to say is that he feels he said nothing wrong. Why are people coming at my neck for my review? It's not for what you said in your review. It was what you, at least not probably any other part of the review. It's for what you said at that part. And now he's trying to act like he was somehow wrong. But these are the same people that tell us to not be the victims. They're the same people that tell us to not think about and talk about race all the time. And what did he do with this? He brought up race when it didn't even need to be brought up. But like I said in my review, there was a lot of controversy when they cast Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon, who we all know Jim Gordon is historically a white man. It was controversy then. I wouldn't be surprised if he aided in that controversy back then as well. Same thing off topic a little bit. When they cast Halle Bailey to play the Little Mermaid, man, she probably had to turn her social media off to avoid all the comments that she received. And they probably gonna be the same ones that when the movie comes out, saying, "Oh my gosh, he did such a great job." Just fake and phony. But I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip.
My gosh, what am I going to do? How will I ever recover from this? And so obviously what I'm talking about in this was a section where I talked about identity politics in this movie. No mention of the fact that I liked the movie. No mention of the fact that I gave it an 8 out of a 10. No mention of the fact that I said I thought it was really good. Just, well, he didn't like the fact that there were more good black people than good white people. Now, me talking about who...
Well, I'm going to pause and go a little bit because this clip is like a minute and 28 seconds long and I don't want to go back and replay it. Yes, people are going to point that out. That's where the controversy of your whole review kicked in. You didn't have to say that, but you chose to put that in. Them being them being black and, being good characters had nothing to do with the storyline. It's the fact that they were black. Had they been white, he wouldn't have said a thing. And we know he wouldn't have said anything. He made it his mission to point out that 3 of the characters in the movie were good and they happened to be black. Leaving out that Batman Bruce Wayne, the lead character of the movie, is the hero of the whole film. Hello? But he got that upset that 3 characters in the movie who happen to be black were good. That's just one too many good black people for him. He's mad because there was not one black villain, and there wasn't. There was not one black villain in this movie. It was even a black cop in there. He had a little line or whatever, and he wasn't even crooked, unlike some of the other cops in there that were crooked. Like, there was a lot of crooked characters in this movie. And that one other black cop that wasn't Jim Gordon was a good guy. And even though he had a little small scene in the apartment with the Riddler. Hello, but let me continue.
I thought was a good person or shown as a good person in this movie.
And one thing he also tried to do is he tries to deflect off of what he said by saying they're not paying attention to what I said about the movie or how much I like the movie or any other critique that I made. They're just focusing on this. Yes. And people wouldn't have to focus on that if this is not what you said. It doesn't matter how long you said it or where you said it in the video. It's the fact that you said it. And I think he's overblowing it, saying that people are sending him death threats. I don't know anybody that cares about him that much to send him any death threats, and at least not any black people for that matter.
Actually go watch it. It was about a small segment that I did about things that I did not like about the movie based on identity politics. One of them was a line that Catwoman says, "You want to hear about that?" Again, go to my actual review.
And you know what? And I didn't mention this in my review, but I know what line he's talking about. It was a line where Catwoman says something about white privilege. She mentioned something about white privilege in the movie. When I heard that, I already knew that a lot of PC was going to be upset about that, especially a lot of PC males, because that's really who she was talking about it to. But she did mention something about white privilege in the movie when it was a scene where she was talking to Batman, which actually caught me by surprise because I was not expecting that line. I think that caught everybody off guard.
I spoil that because I know people haven't even gone out to watch it yet. But go to my review and watch it when I talk about this. And anyone with an IQ above room temperature could understand that what I'm...
And he stole that line of IQ above room temp from the Amazing Lucas. Because whenever I watch his videos, Amazing Lucas is the first person I've ever heard say IQ above room temp. So if anyone thinks that he's the one that came up with that, no. The Amazing Lucas, I've heard him say that for a while. And I'm talking about even back when I really wasn't rocking with his content like that. I used to hear him say it in videos back then. So if anyone thinks he came up with that, think again.
talking about here is not simply, well, there were more good black people than good white people, so I didn't like it. It was talking about the fact that every other white person, every single white person in this movie was portrayed as evil. Every living white person in this movie was portrayed as an evil piece of garbage, except for Batman and Alfred. That's what the statement's talking about. That's what I'm trying to get across, is that even though I didn't ruin the movie for me, you can't get away from that agenda in Hollywood right now. That's obvious. We all understand and know that.
Okay, so he's upset because every other white person in the movie, with the exception of Batman and Alfred, were bad or they were crooked in some kind of way. And all the non-white people, because it was even another non-black, non-white cop, I think he was Latino or something in there, he was a good guy as well. And they were he's just upset that all the white people except Batman and Alfred were bad, and that the non-white characters such as Catwoman, Jim Gordon, the mayor, and that one Latino cop that I was just telling you about were good. He's the only one that had a nitpick about that. When I talked about the stuff that I did not like, I said they overused the theme songs too much. They overdid it for me. Catwoman being the daughter of Carmine Falcone, and the movie being too long to the point where it dragged out in some parts that it felt like it was a lot of dead space. Those were my critiques. It had nothing to do with this. I even said in my video, like I said, I knew they was going to nitpick about Jim Gordon being being black, casted as a black character, or a black actor being cast as Jim Gordon. I said that back when Jeffrey Wright got casted, and I said they can't get him with the Zoe Kravitz one because Catwoman has been black or non-white for a couple of times. Goes back to Eartha Kitt. Then you had Halle Berry, as bad as that was, and now you have Zoe Kravitz. So that's only 3 instances where Catwoman was not white. So, and then the black mayor, she was a new character. But he got that upset about it. But like I said, when they talk about you will not replace us, because you hear that a lot, or they're talking about different things of why they hate that there are black characters in these movies and stuff like that, pay attention to what he said. That is exactly what they're talking about. They want to see black people just as the villain. Because I bet you if all the black characters were bad people, he would not have said that. He wouldn't have said that. Even if all the other white characters were bad, he would not have said that if all the black characters were bad too. That's what he had an issue with. That is a nitpick. That is a racial ignorant nitpick that he did not have to make, but he decided to make. That's why you're getting backlash. What is his name? Ryan Kinel? That's his real name. Of RK Outpost? That's why they're mad. So to try to make yourself look like you're a victim in all this, that's bullshit. And the crazy part about it is, there are more people on YouTube who have that same mindset just like him. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you are new. Make sure you go ahead and hit that bell to be notified every time I upload a new video or go live.